So, good morning, everyone. Welcome to our call this morning. And to explain what we're doing here with African Startup League, we have our renowned speaker, Ms. Mita Del Fiero, who's been giving these kind of explanations about how African Startup League and many companies perform in a really simple way that everyone can understand. Mita has a lot of experience in the industry doing so, and so we really appreciate you spending your time here with us, Mita. And so, Mita, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Well, great. Thank you so much. And welcome, everyone. And, Jamal says good morning. I say good evening. Tonight, I'm calling in from Seattle, Washington. And so to everybody, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending where you're calling in from, because I know we have people that are jumping on from different parts of the world. And it's truly my privilege to share some very exciting news with you. Now, this presentation, it's for you if you're a guest or if this is your first time to hear about our humanitarian project that will uplift and elevate the lives of millions of people in Africa. And this presentation, it's for you if you want to learn about the opportunity where you can leverage as little as $100 or even less, much less, $10, $20, $50, and still have the potential to earn millions in return. I know it can sound too good to be true, but when you hear what's been put together with this program, you will clearly see how this can be possible. Now, this project began as the vision of Mr. Marcus Dukes, who, after retiring from a very successful career in the world of finance and investments, he decided to pursue something that he felt could really make a difference in helping to eradicate extreme poverty in Africa. And many of you have heard his story, and you know that he has been working on this project for a number of years now. And here we are to really roll it out to everyone that we've invited. Now, I'm sure that most, if not everyone on this call, has heard the term unicorn, of course, in the context of business and investments. Well, unicorn refers to a privately held startup company that achieves a valuation of at least $1 billion. Now, that term unicorn, it was actually coined by Eileen Lee, who's a venture capitalist, and back in 2013, because it really was a rare achievement to reach this valuation. In fact, in 2013, there were only 39 unicorn companies. And now listen to these very important numbers. So in a study done by Harvard Business Review, it was determined that startups founded between 2012 and 2015 were growing in valuation twice as fast as companies from startups that were founded between 2000 and 2013. Then in 2018, there were 119 unicorns worldwide, and about 803 unicorns as of August 2021. Then as of June 2022, which really is only about 4 or 5 months ago, they reported 1,170 unicorns globally. Now, the growing number of unicorns is evidence of how new innovations in technology combined with social media apps has contributed greatly to this rise. And in a few minutes, you'll appreciate why these numbers could be relevant to what we're presenting to you now. So let me ask this. How many of you were invited to be a private investor in a unicorn company when it was just a startup, meaning before it became a unicorn company? You see, chances are that you, like me, never got that call to go check out any of these startups. So let's talk about what was happening in Silicon Valley before these unicorn companies just started popping up. Because you see, this is where young entrepreneurs with great ideas went to pitch private investors and venture capitalists, hoping to get funding to build their ideas into successful companies. And of course, we've heard stories of unbelievable returns of tens of millions or hundreds of millions or even billions of dollars when any of these great ideas became successful, and especially when they achieved unicorn status. So now that you're on this presentation, let me just say this. You have now been invited to an opportunity where you can be a part of profiting from startups that could potentially become unicorn companies. Now, the vision that Marcus started with, it's now evolved into a new startup ecosystem in Africa, really to address the continent's most pressing issues. And it's using crypto and blockchain technology. Now, one part of this new ecosystem is the Humanity Node Protocol. This part has already completed proof of concept, meaning it has already been successfully executed and implemented in Africa. People are being trained, they're gaining new skills, have access to business resources that will give them opportunities that they never had previously to improve their personal economies. And this will result in their lives and their families' lives truly being uplifted and elevated in ways that will be sustainable for a lifetime. Now, another part of this ecosystem is the African Startup League, or ASL. And this is what we are going to be focused on during this presentation. So let me just go over here and do some screen sharing. Let's see here. And we'll go through that story. And hopefully everybody can see this okay. Okay, so as you can see here, it says, welcome to Africa's $1 trillion startup competition. And what we're going to be talking about really is how the groundwork has been laid, meaning it's been put in place. Something has been put in place that's going to give you access to the world's next major economy. And you're going to be able to receive tokenized equity in dynamic businesses with real world impact. So over the next 15 minutes or so, we're going to be covering all of these: the Africa's $1 trillion startup game, why Africa, the decentralized GDP of Africa, comparing, looking at China's rise to where it is today in terms of its economy and how Africa can follow that. You're going to see how through ASL, African Startup League, you can create your own venture fund, receive rewards for staking, and where we will be able to launch 100 African startups per year. The system where you can win sometimes, but you will never, ever lose. We're going to talk about that competition, tokenomics, referrals, commissions, and whatnot. So let's get started here. So what is the African Startup League? Now, this is a studio platform where we are going to connect these entrepreneurs, right? And we're going to connect them with strategists and the creatives, the engineers, community and capital, so that they can design and build and launch the organizations that are going to be focused on improving the life of humans and transforming the world of tomorrow. Now, in this competition, they're all really wanting to win that $1 million US grand prize, right? $1 million US dollars. I mean, that's a lot of money no matter where you are, but you can imagine what that amount of money can do in Africa and who it can help. And we are going to award this prize directly funding the project that wins. So why are we doing this? Well, of course, we would love to find the future unicorns, meaning, you know, those billion-dollar companies, which will become the foundation of Africa's multi-trillion-dollar economy. Now, and remember, while we will be helping to find and create unicorn companies, all these companies don't need to become unicorns in order for you to earn those unbelievable returns. Because you see, you have the advantage of timing, meaning you're finding out about it right now, ground zero, before it even started, and right now, while the price of the ASL tokens are still just a penny. Okay. So again, how are we going to do this? We're going to lay down the path. We're going to gather and distribute resources for building and really accelerating the growth of the next 10,000 great blockchain-based, humanity-focused companies, and we are going to create $1 trillion of new wealth. So why Africa? There's an unprecedented opportunity right now, and it was created by the convergence of demographic power, social power, and the blockchain power. Right now in Africa, 1.4 billion inhabitants, which is the second most populated in the world. By 2050, that number will be 2.5 billion, and they have the youngest population of any region, where the median age, the average age, is 20, which is a decade less than the global average. The social power, right now, over 500 million people are already on the internet in Africa. Over 250 million are on Facebook alone. So access to internet is growing year on year at an accelerated pace. When we look at the blockchain power, they have the fastest adoption of blockchain in the world in Africa. 1,200% growth just in 1 year, from 2020 to 2021. And over this same period, more than $100 billion crypto payments were to Africans. And right now, 10% of the population of Kenya have crypto wallets already. Now, let's look at China's rise to economic power. Why? Well, this is kind of going to give us an idea. And we've all heard the saying, success leaves clues. Well, we have something even better, because we have an actual roadmap, meaning we can look at these benchmarks that we can actually follow and see the direction that we're going. So for China, it took them 4 years to move from 500 billion to $1 trillion. Then another 17 years to reach $10 trillion GDP, only 8 more years to become a $17 trillion economy, which is the world's second largest. Now, during China's rise to where it is today, just in the last 20 years, they have created 301 unicorns, 1,000 billionaires, 5 million new millionaires. Now, that's a rapidly growing economy that has truly uplifted the lives of millions of people in their continent. So now let's go over to Africa, where today Africa has $1.7 trillion economy. Africa will represent a $20 trillion GDP by 2040, which is really in pace with China's growth rate. The median age of again in Africa is 20. So that's less than half of any other continent. Blockchain has already hit critical mass in many African countries. Now, when we talk about that critical mass, this is that tipping point, right? A tipping point is where something becomes self-sustaining, because the numbers are big enough to produce results and to continue to grow. Africa starts its hypergrowth phase with a younger and more entrepreneurial population. Now, this is important because you see, we're talking about the same generation that has more easily adopted and utilized these new technologies, social media, which truly have become contributing factors to the growing numbers of unicorns. 1/3 of all crypto owners in Africa are based in Nigeria. And that's over 22 million people over there that are already crypto owners. So when we look at Nigeria's current population, which is over 218 million, 22 million is only 10%. That leaves it wide open for us to be able to go in and really, get those numbers growing at a very rapid pace. And the information business sector provides 55% of the African continent and 80% of the employment. So why decentralize the GDP of Africa? Well, first of all, you can see on this chart that you have on the left side issues with centralization, and then you have the decentralized solution. Right now in Africa, 54 countries, all with different currencies. Well, when we go to the decentralized solution, you can see that it becomes one economy for all. Right now, the issues of corrupt governments that lack transparency and truly have a lot of power discrepancies. But when you go to the decentralized solution, you're going to see that decentralization is going to prevent the foul play and corruption, because there will be transparency, because all transactions are recorded on the chain, and people will have the power. So you're not going to have those power discrepancies anymore. In Africa, you have the rising inflation and continued devaluation of African currencies. Well, the solution is to really accelerate the crypto adoption. Currently, 57% of Africa is unbanked, but with a decentralized solution, it will be easier to bank people on the phone. So with the African Startup League, you're going to be able to create your own venture fund. Now, when we talk about a venture fund, you've heard of venture capital, venture capitalists, and really what they're doing here, these are funds that are pooled investments. They invest in startups, but they do it in exchange for equity or ownership in those companies that they're investing in. So think about that for a moment, that you're going to have the opportunity to be able to do that as well. Let's talk a little bit about the competition. So the African Startup League, this is a competition. It is a contest. And what we're going to be doing, because as I had mentioned previously, the grand prize is $1 million US. Well, what we're doing is we're going to be reaching out and allowing these young, promising entrepreneurs, likely many of them are of genius minds with real talents, maybe like the future Steve Jobs, right? That are there. They just need the exposure. They just need to be discovered. They need a platform where they can be seen, they can be recognized. That's what we are going to give them here with the African Startup League. And so remember that right now, none of these companies have any valuation, but the top prize, whichever company wins, not only will they get $1 million US of funding into their project, but they will come out with a valuation of $5 million. So there will be 10,000 teams that will be allowed to register, okay, in this with their ideas. And then there will be 100 winners, meaning the top 100 companies that will receive prizes. And those companies will have a total valuation of $12 million. Now, if you had put your ASL, your African Startup League tokens that you're going to be buying for 1 cent right now, the price will go up. So you want to make sure you get that as soon as possible for those of you who are participating. You're going to be, if you had supported any of the teams that ended up in the top 100, it doesn't even have to be the team that won, but if any of the teams that you had supported with your ASL tokens ends up in the top 100, you will get equity. Okay, equity means like a part ownership of all 100 of those companies that are in that top 100. So here's the prize pool that everybody's obviously, fighting for. And like I said, $1 million for the first prize, but you can see that it goes down and all the way to 10th place where it pays 15,000. And then all the teams that are from 11th place to 100th place will all receive 10,000 US dollars. And all of these will be awarded to those teams in the way of funding to help fund their great ideas and bring those companies to fruition. When you become a part of our team here at of our humanity team, you're going to be able to take part in a lot of the things that are going on, be able to really get more education as to what these technologies are that that these ecosystems are built on. You're going to start learning more about crypto and about investments and about entrepreneurship. These are skills and knowledge that will help to propel you to improve your entire financial situation. And when you participate, because you're going to buy your ASL tokens, and then you're going to assign them to the teams that you want to support. Now, a team needs 100,000 ASL tokens in order to be able to qualify to even compete. They need that many tokens. And when you assign those tokens, if none of the teams that you gave your support to, that your tokens to, wins, you get it all back. Okay, and you're going to get it all back. And when you do that, you can play again the next competition. So off season, you're going to get all your tokens back. If you want, you can even sell some on the open market. If you don't want, you can just keep it and watch the teams that come on again and be able to pick teams again and play once more. But you're going to have opportunities to stake your tokens and all of these things. We're all going to be learning about it. And this is really very valuable information, because many of us are realizing now that if we were not fortunate enough to jump on this bandwagon sooner and earlier than we did, we've missed out on a lot already. But now is our chance to be able to capitalize on what's being presented for us here today with this program, and be able to capture what we didn't, because we just weren't given the opportunity. Okay, well, now you're going to have that opportunity. So these ASL tokens, if we look at this, the blockchain, right? Again, it's a decentralized system, so it's going to allow compensation for all. It's all on the blockchain, built on the Binance Smart Chain. So the token proceeds are funding the prize pool and referral commissions. It's going to guarantee adequate compensation for all participants in the system. You can see that right here, right now on the screen. Let's talk a little bit about tokenomics. This is really important because you have to understand that there is a finite number of these ASL tokens, meaning once those are all sold, some will buy it for 1 cent right now because that's what it costs. Some will buy it for more because the price will go up, all the way until all the tokens have been purchased by people like you and I, the people that we invite to look at the program. Therefore, the tokens that we have, following, really the most basic law of economics, meaning the law of supply and demand, the supply of these tokens will go down, but the demand will go up. Why? Because this competition is going to get a lot of exposure. There will be major global publicity. There will be a lot of social media promotions. There will be support from a lot of very important people. And you guys have heard about the support of the royal family in Dubai. You've heard from Marcus and Jamal talking about that. There are other celebrities. There are a lot of dignitaries all over Africa who are all part of really getting behind this project. So it's going to gain exposure as each competition, as we go each year. Remember, we are launching 100 new startups every year through this competition. Imagine what that's going to do really to the GDP of Africa. We are helping to contribute to the growth of their gross domestic product in that continent. The price will increase because more of these entrepreneurs who have great ideas are going to want to compete. They're going to want that $1 million US to fund their ideas to become successful companies, to potentially become unicorn companies. Therefore, the value of the ASL tokens you have can't help but go up because the demand is going up, but there's no more supply. You own it. And so if you can just picture that in your mind, that any of the teams in the future that want to participate in these competitions, they have to get the tokens from you. They have to buy tokens from you and those of us who have them, and will sell them. Of course, you can imagine what they will be worth as time goes on. So you have that opportunity to do that. Now, maybe that's all you want to do. Buy your tokens, as many tokens as you want, because now you understand the real value of buying as many of those as you can. Okay, play the competition, pick your teams, sit back, cheer those teams on. We're going to show you how to help, so that you understand the kinds of businesses that these teams are bringing to the table and how you can watch the competition and so on. But maybe you might also want to participate in the referral program. If you think this is such a great idea, maybe you might know other people who would be interested. Invite them to participate and you're going to get paid commissions. So if you refer someone personally and they buy the ASL tokens, that's your first tier, you're going to get paid 15%. When they refer somebody, that's your second tier, you're going to get 5%. The next tier down, third tier is 4%, then 1%, 3%, 2%. You see that right here on the chart. So we have a 6-tier or 6-level of commissions that you can earn. And this is money that will be paid immediately when somebody makes the purchase. So this is money you can make now. Your participation in the African Startup League with your ASL tokens, those are those huge returns that you will make over time through the competition, through assigning your tokens to teams that hopefully will end up in the top 100. So you can start creating your own venture fund. And you also have the opportunity to sell your tokens during the off season, and you'll be able to sell them obviously for a profit. So we're inviting you, the guests who are not yet part of this, maybe you're looking at it, making a decision. Hopefully you've seen something here tonight, you've heard something here tonight that you can now really appreciate the magnitude of this project. And we're going to invite you to help us build the future of Africa starting today. So the African Startup League is the first blockchain-based African startup contest for these young entrepreneurs. It's 100% on the blockchain with unique and transparent community involvement from A to Z. Certainly, we invite you to be a part of this community. So once again, with all the information that we've shared, hopefully you're going to go back to the person that invited you and say, I'm ready to get started. Once you do that, they will show you exactly what you need to do. We have team members that will help you. We will help you get your ASL tokens. We'll help you get started. We'll bring these presentations to you. We'll bring you the updates. So we're going to be working as a team throughout this entire journey. So we invite you once again to be a part of it. This pretty much wraps up the presentation. I thank you for your time. Thank you for your attention to everything that we've shared here tonight. And wherever you're calling in from, have a great rest of the day. Have a great rest of the evening. Thank you.